Incredible moment. Pregnant woman faints in court as life-changing DNA test reveals hidden truth. The courtroom was packed, anticipation heavy in the air. Whispers ricocheted off the old wooden walls. Sarah sat at the front, clutching her belly, heart pounding in sync with the murmurs of the townsfolk. She could feel their eyes boring into her like knives, judgment wrapped in curious glances. The judge cleared his throat, the gavel struck, and the silence was deafening. What was supposed to be a simple paternity test had spiraled into a spectacle. As the judge began to read, in the case of Sarah Jenkins, Sarah's mind raced. Memories of her childhood spent chasing her dad's shadow, the complexities of her mom's love, they all swirled around her like leaves in a whirlwind. She was a waitress at Betty's Diner, the heart of Maple Grove, where customers exchanged dreams over steaming coffee. Now she was fighting for the biggest dream of her life, her unborn child. She spotted Jenny, her best friend, sitting in the back, mouthing encouragement. The diner felt a million miles away, the clattering dishes replaced by the relentless drip of sweat sliding down her forehead. Suddenly the world began to spin. A long-lost cousin had emerged, a stranger with a tangled story and questions about her child's paternity. The implications were suffocating. Little did she know, the truth was seconds away from crashing down like a wave. The air thickened and her breath hitched. Then came the twist. The judge paused, his gaze piercing. The DNA tests confirmed before he could finish. Blackness snuffed out her vision. Gasps echoed. The courtroom trembled with shock as Sarah collapsed. She lay unconscious, and the space that was once filled with silence turned electric with hushed concern. In the moments that followed, neighbors rushed to her side, unsure whether to offer a hand or hold back the tidal wave of emotion. Betty, the diner's owner, fought tears, her heart aching for the single mother who had become a part of everyone's lives. The townsfolk exchanged glances, the truth rattling everything they thought they knew about family and societal ties. "Someone call an ambulance." A voice pierced through the chaos, and another voice, trembling, whispered, "She's been through so much." The tension thickened. Had they underestimated her? Did they really know her struggles? With Sarah lying there, the community faced a harsh reality check. Their comfort and habits and whispered opinions crumbled. The very fabric of their shared lives was about to shift. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. As the EMTs rushed in, the whispers morphed into a low hum of concern. What had they learned about family? When a woman who carried decades of her ancestors' struggles now lay vulnerable in front of them. Sarah's unconsciousness was more than just a physical collapse. It was an emotional reckoning for the entire community. When she awoke, what would she say? How would she define herself in a town built on shadows of gossip and whispers? And more importantly, would she reclaim her story, or would the tumult of judgment engulf her again? As Sarah stirred, life surrounding her hung in a delicate balance, hope and fear intertwined, longing for answers that might finally set them all free. The sterile smell of the hospital room slowly broke through the fog in Sarah's mind. Blinking against the harsh fluorescent lights, she felt warmth on her abdomen, a gentle reminder of the life growing inside her. Panic surged. She was remembering the courtroom, the faces, the judgment. She had fainted. Would they still be waiting for her to wake? Or had they already decided who she was? "Sarah? Hey, can you hear me?" That voice. It was Jenny. Relief washed over her like a balm, easing the tension she didn't realize she was holding. Jenny was always there, the unwavering anchor in her stormy seas. And yet, as the shadows of the past loomed larger than ever, Sarah's heart raced with unanswered questions. "What happened?" she croaked, her throat dry and scratchy. "Everything's okay now," Jenny replied, hovering over her like a protective mother hen. "You fainted in court. They called the ambulance. You scared us, girl." Court, the word hung in the air, dragging memories along with it. The DNA test results. The implications. The thought weighed heavily as she struggled to remember more. They confirmed the paternity? Sarah's voice wavered. Jenny's expression shifted, uncertainty etching deeper lines on her forehead. They haven't read the results yet. They wanted you to be awake for that. Sarah's heart plummeted. Everything hinged on that moment, the truth, her future, her child's future. But what if? Don't think about what ifs right now. Just focus on getting better, Jenny urged, her resolve palpable. Just then, the door creaked open cautiously, and in walked Dr. Hayes, a familiar figure in the town. He always seemed to embody calmness. Sarah, I'm glad to see you awake, he said, gentle but authoritative. We ran some tests and you're doing all right. Just a bit of stress from the situation. Stress? Sarah echoed, feeling the weight of it like an iron shackle around her heart. She knew it was more than stress. It was the weight of her entire existence waiting for clarity. I know this is a lot to process, especially after what happened. Dr. Hayes continued, his eyes soft. You're going to have to face that truth, whatever it is. But you have support, and you don't have to go through this alone. Before she could respond, the door swung open again, and a man she didn't recognize stepped inside. His face was familiar, yet foreign, an uncanny mix of her own features blended with something else. Sarah, he said, his voice tremulous. I'm Stephen. I know this is unexpected, but we need to talk. The air thickened with tension, a pulse of uncertainty running through the room. Who was he in relation to her mother? What secrets was he harboring? Just give me a moment, Sarah murmured to Jenny, who nodded but lingered, worry etched across her features. Stephen stepped closer, his hands trembling slightly. I'm here to explain everything. Please don't jump to conclusions. I just want to help. Help? The word felt heavy in the room. With her heart pounding and her mind racing, Sarah braced herself for the storm ahead. Could this stranger truly unravel the tangled web of her history? Could he offer a branch of truth that could transform her reality? As she looked at him, a flash of anger and fear boiled up within her. Would he be the answer she desperately sought? Or just another layer of complexity in a life already riddled with chaos? In that moment, she realized that the real battle was just beginning. What truths lay beneath his hesitant gaze? And would they finally provide the clarity she craved? Or would they tear apart everything she'd ever known? Sarah studied Stephen closely, searching his face for any sign of deceit or reassurance. His eyes held the same haunted look she felt in her soul, a burden carried far too long. She wasn't ready to fully trust him, but the desperation in the air buzzed like static, pushing her closer to the edge. What do you know? She asked, the words spilling out before she could temper them. I know you're confused. I know this isn't how you thought you'd find me, he replied, his voice measured. But I was there. I saw everything unfold. And I have something to tell you. Jenny shifted beside Sarah, her presence a calming weight against the uncertainty. She reached for Sarah's hand, squeezing it gently, grounding her in the moment. You don't have to do this alone, she whispered. With a deep breath, Sarah turned her attention back to Stephen, who seemed to gather himself for the revelation. Your father, he was a complicated man. He didn't want you to know certain truths about your family. Truths that could change everything. The word father struck Sarah like a slap, so raw and jarring. My father? What do you mean? What does he have to do with any of this? Stephen stepped closer, his voice dropping to a whisper as though the walls themselves might overhear. He wasn't just your father. He had connections to people who wanted to keep things under wraps. Things that involve you and, more importantly, your child. Confusion washed over her, rushing in torrents. What are you saying? That my child is part of something bigger? Something dark? No, not dark. Just complicated. Stephen paused, as if choosing his words carefully. You deserve to know how much your life has been intertwined with family secrets. How much some people fought to shield you from those truths. The last comment landed heavily upon Sarah, stirring a mix of fury and curiosity. So you're saying I've been a pawn? Just a piece on their board? This isn't just about a court case. It's about something much deeper? He nodded solemnly, the weight of the truth hanging between them like a brittle thread ready to snap. They didn't want you hurt. They thought it was best to bury the past. But now that you're expecting, it's time for the past to come out. A heavy silence echoed as Sarah digested his words. Each breath felt loaded with anticipation and fear, the potential of her entire future hanging in a delicate balance. What do I do with that? How can I trust you? I know this sounds crazy, but I want to be honest with you. I didn't come here to meddle. I didn't even want to find you until now. But I can't walk away knowing the truth is out there, waiting to ruin lives. A metallic taste settled in Sarah's mouth. This was it. The moment she had dreaded was crumbling around her. If she followed him down this path, everything could change. What truth? She whispered, her voice barely a breath. Your mom. The secrets about her and your father. They're intertwined with your identity, with the family you never truly knew. It's time you knew where you came from. It felt like the ground beneath her shifted, the foundation of her life threatening to give way. What are you saying? Before Stephen could respond, a soft knock on the door drew their attention. It swung open and the nurse entered with a clipboard. Sorry to interrupt, Sarah, but they're ready for you in the lab. They want to go over your test results, she said, glancing between them. As panic surged, Sarah's heart raced. This was all happening too fast. The moment of truth loomed, pulling her upward like a tide threatening to drown her. Should she ask him to wait? To hold on? Or should she step into the unknown, unmask the secrets and confront her future head-on? Will you stay? She blurted as a last plea, feeling the urgency of the moment. Always, he replied, and that single word enveloped her, igniting a flicker of hope in a dark sea of doubt. As Sarah stood to follow the nurse, the doorway felt like a portal to another world. Would the results reveal the unsettling truths she was now bound to unravel? Would she emerge strengthened or shattered? Either way, she couldn't turn back. The real test lay just ahead. What awaited her on the other side of the curtain? And would the truth unravel her life or set her free? As Sarah followed the nurse down the sterile corridor, each step felt like a leap into the unknown. The fluorescent lights flickered overhead, imbuing the air with an uncomfortable hum. She held tightly to Jenny's hand, the warmth grounding her as uncertainty whirled in her mind. What lay ahead? The medical lab felt like a battlefield, and she was about to engage in a war of revelation. The nurse paused before a door, her smile reassuring yet clinical. Just a moment. You'll want to have a seat in there. She motioned Sarah forward, and as she stepped inside, a wave of unease washed over her. The lab was bright, filled with the faint scent of antiseptic. Machines beeped softly, creating an eerie rhythm that echoed the quickening pace of her heart. On the far side of the room sat a doctor, flipping through documents with a calmness that contrasted starkly with the storm within Sarah. Sarah, it's good to see you, the doctor began, his voice smooth and low. But she hardly heard him, her thoughts consumed by Stephen's words. Secrets about her father and mother loomed in the background, intricate tapestries of mystery woven with threads of pain. Thank you, she said absently, her mind still racing. She stole a glance at Jenny, whose reassuring smile helped anchor her swirling emotions. I'm ready, she whispered, and in that moment, she knew she had to face whatever came next. All right, let us go over the test results, the doctor said, pulling Sarah's attention back to him. We've conducted the necessary analysis on your samples. He flipped a page, his expression neutral, and for a moment Sarah held her breath. Firstly, he continued, there were no abnormalities in your blood work. Everything looks great in that regard. That's good, she muttered, feeling a flicker of relief even though the weight of uncertainty still pressed heavily on her chest. Yes, but we did uncover something else, he said, his tone shifting slightly. There is a potential familial match indicated in these results. Sarah's pulse quickened. A familial match? The words echoed in her mind like a gathering storm. What does that mean? It means there are ties to family members not on your immediate contact list, he explained, choosing his words with care. Connections that may shift your understanding of your own lineage. Just then she remembered Stephen's words, the secrets intertwined with her identity. It felt like the world tilted around her. This relates to my parents, doesn't it? She pressed, desperate for clarity. The doctor nodded carefully. It does. The report shows DNA similarities with individuals who are not just distant relatives. They might be connected through shared ancestry or even more closely than you expect. Her blood ran cold with the implications. The uncertainty of her father's past leaped to life. What if he had been keeping not just secrets, but a whole legacy hidden from her? Do I know these people? That's difficult to say without further investigation. But you deserve to explore these connections. It may answer some of the questions you've had, especially about your family dynamics and your child's heritage. The room swirled around her, every word sinking in like stones into her stomach. Stephen hadn't just hinted at complexities. He had opened a chasm of possibility that threatened to engulf her. Her mind raced with images of probing interviews, long-buried family histories, and unearthing truths too heavy to carry. Sarah, Jenny's voice cut through her daze. Are you okay? She swallowed hard, face flushed. No, not really. I need to know more. Then we will, Jenny promised, tightening her grip. We'll figure it out together. Just as Sarah sought to hold on to that promise, the doctor spoke again, drawing her back to reality. There's a process to identify these familial connections, but we can start that journey whenever you feel ready. Right now, Sarah breathed, daring herself to move forward into the unknown, trembling yet determined. Revelations waited just beyond the horizon, and she was tired of shying away. But the door unexpectedly swung open, and a tall figure stepped in, casting a long shadow across the sterile room. It was Stephen, with an urgency etched on his face that sent a shiver down her spine. Sarah, he said, breathless. We need to talk. Now. The air thickened with anticipation. What had he discovered? What had he found that could change everything again? In that moment, Sarah felt the weight of her decision settle heavily on her shoulders. She was about to step onto uncharted territory, where truth and trust tangled with fear. What lay behind Stephen's eyes that demanded her immediate attention? Sarah's heart hammered as she locked eyes with Stephen. There was a turmoil in his expression, urgency mixed with concern, something she hadn't anticipated. The doctor's words vanished from her mind. His presence shifted the focus entirely. Why are you here? What is happening? She felt her pulse quicken, her fight-or-flight instinct kicking in. Just please listen, Stephen said, stepping deeper into the room, his voice low but intense. I found something. Something about your father. What do you mean? She squeezed Jenny's hand tighter, the warmth only partially soothing her rising anxiety. While you were in the lab, I received a call. Your father, he's been keeping secrets from you, Sarah, bigger than we thought. His urgency cracked through her confusion, igniting a flame of anger and disbelief. Secrets? Like what? Sarah's breath hitched and she felt lightheaded. Her father's stoicism had always been infuriating, but now it felt like betrayal. Your identity isn't just tied to those DNA results. There's a whole family out there, people you don't know about, some who have been waiting to meet you. Your father, he paused, searching for the right words. He's not your biological father. The statement landed like a jolt of electricity. Suddenly the room felt smaller, the air thicker. What? She gasped, reeling from the weight of his revelation. That can't be true. Believe me, I wished it wasn't. Stephen continued, his voice strained. But the test results, the familial matches, they connect you to another family. A family that's living in the area. Why would he hide something like that? The betrayal cut deeper than she anticipated. Her father's silence had always felt like a mystery, but now it echoed as an outright lie. I don't know, he said, frustration bending his tone. But we need to find out. It's possible whoever is out there might have answers about you, about what he's kept from you. Sarah fought to keep her composure. Emotions swirled, fear, confusion, an overwhelming desire to scream. She glanced at Jenny for support, but found only shock mirrored in her friend's wide eyes. Sarah, this changes everything, Jenny finally spoke. We have to confront him. You deserve to know the truth. I can't just confront him, she said, panic flooding her voice. He's my dad. What will I even say? Say we need the truth, Stephen urged, stepping closer to her. You need to understand why he didn't tell you. This is not just about you anymore, it affects your child too. You deserve to know your lineage, your history. The thought shook her. A legacy entwined with questions. The determination to face it wrestled with the fear of what it might mean. Just breathe, okay? Jenny said softly, placing a hand on her shoulder. You don't have to do this alone. We'll be with you. The weight of her situation crashed down around her, and the reality began to crystallize. Could she truly confront her father? Before she could respond, Stephen's expression shifted. A dawning realization crossed his features. Wait, if there are other family members, they might already know. They could be looking for you. We shouldn't wait. The urgency in his voice reignited her sense of purpose. Then let us find them first, she said, determination eclipsing her fears. I want to learn who they are and why my father lied. As they steeled themselves for this journey into the unknown, the swirling emotions coiling tight in her chest left little room for doubt. In pursuit of the truth, there was no turning back now. But just as they turned to leave, Sarah's phone buzzed in her pocket. A message flashed on the screen. Her heart sank as she recognized the name. Dad? She whispered, dread creeping back in. What awaited her in that message? Would it bring answers or more questions? The message screen lit up, and Sarah's hands trembled as she pulled the phone out. The unyielding grip of dread coiled around her, squeezing her thoughts into a tight ball. Dad, she whispered again, as if saying his name aloud would somehow drain the weight from her heart. Open it, Stephen urged, fear mixing with urgency in his voice. With shaky fingers, Sarah pressed the button. The message was short but loaded. We need to talk. There are things you don't understand. Please come home. Home. The word sent a wave of nostalgia crashing over her, echoes of laughter. Meals shared, moments that felt safe. But it was a different home now, tainted by revelations and shadows. What does he want? She murmured, her thoughts spinning. Maybe he knows you're onto him, Jenny said, crossing her arms. Or he is afraid of what you'll uncover. Or he is scared of the truth, Sarah interjected. But truth or not, it feels impossible to face him. They stood there, wrapped in seconds that felt like hours. The implications of Stephen's revelations loomed over Sarah like dark clouds, igniting a battle within her, a desperate need to flee, and an equally urgent call to fight. After all, the truth was sitting right there, waiting. Let us not rush into this, Stephen suggested, but his eyes betrayed his own doubts. We need to be strategic. Leaving her father's message unread indefinitely felt wrong. A part of her wanted to run toward him, to demand answers, to shout about the lies. But another part was terrified of the evening's possibilities, reluctant to peel back layers that could rend her already frayed world apart. Maybe we can meet him somewhere neutral, Jenny chimed in, practical as always. That way it's not just you confronting him at home. There's a buffer. Sarah nodded, her heart a war drum. A diner or a park. Somewhere her voice faltered as the reality of all this loomed large. I don't even know if I want to see him. But you need to, Stephen said, his gaze steady. You deserve that chance for clarity, for closure. Closure or a deeper wound. The bitter sting of truth hit hard. Yet her resolve grew stronger. If there's another family out there waiting, I need to know how to navigate this. I can't let him keep controlling my life. Jenny squeezed Sarah's arm gently. Whatever happens, you have us. We'll make sure you're not alone in this. Taking a deep breath, Sarah glanced at her phone again. Should I respond? The vulnerability lingered, gnawing at her resolve. Maybe just let him know you got the message. Keep it neutral, Stephen advised. With a mix of fear and determination, she typed quickly. I got your message. I'm free tomorrow afternoon. Let us talk. Pressing send felt liberating, but it unleashed butterflies in her stomach, signaling the start of something monumental. As her phone buzzed with a reply just moments later, she braced herself. They all leaned in, tense, breath held in suspense. The screen displayed, "Thank you. I'll be waiting for you." Silence enveloped the three of them, each grappling with the storm of feelings swirling in the room, the anticipation, the fear, and the unshakable hope for resolution. Unbeknownst to Sarah, just a few streets away, another life was about to collide with hers. Would discovery shatter her world, or offer a lifeline she never expected? The answer lingered just beyond the horizon. It was time to face the reality head-on, no matter the cost. Steeling herself, Sarah steered her thoughts toward the next day. Let us find the other family, she said quietly. If they're out there waiting, then I'll take the leap. But as she spoke, an unsettling feeling settled in her gut. Would it really be that easy? And what other secrets lay hidden in the shadows? The next morning arrived with a heavy, overcast sky, mirroring Sarah's mood. After restless hours of sleep, she finally blinked awake, her heart racing at the thought of the day ahead. The scent of coffee permeated the air, grounding her in the familiar comforts of home until, of course, she remembered why she was sitting at the kitchen table. Are you ready? Jenny asked, her voice light but edges sharpened with concern, as if she could sense the weight of uncertainty looming over Sarah. The contrast of their casual breakfast scene with the impending confrontation felt surreal. "Ready as I'll ever be," Sarah replied, forcing a small smile. Her fingers twisted around her coffee mug, tapping nervously against the ceramic surface. Stephen joined them, grabbing toast from the counter. He paused, giving Sarah a searching look. "You're gonna do great. Just remember you hold the power here. You're the one asking the questions." "Yeah, the ones that might turn my world upside down," she muttered, her stomach clenching at the thought. She pushed herself up from the table, leaving the remnants of her breakfast untouched. The clock on the wall ticked audibly, each sound stretching her nerves tighter. She glanced out the window, the dreary sky offering no comfort, a palpable reminder of the storm brewing within her. The venue for their meeting was a small diner situated at the outskirts of town, a place bustling with the morning rush yet hauntingly familiar. Sarah had spent countless afternoons there with friends, her mind racing through memories. Now everything felt altered. Every booth held the weight of potential revelations. As they stepped inside, the bell jingled, the sound sharp and bright. A waitress greeted them, her cheery demeanor contrasting with Sarah's somber mood. "Table for 3? She asked. "Yes, please," Jenny replied. They were led to a booth in the back, shielded from immediate view but exposed enough to feel the world outside pressing in. "I can't do this," Sarah whispered suddenly, panic rising in her chest. "Yes, you can." Stephen's tone was firm, full of the confidence she desperately needed to cling to. "You're strong. We're right here with you." With that, Sarah nodded and took a deep breath, focusing on the surroundings. She watched the other patrons' couples laughing, families sharing meals, alone and lost in thought. It tore at her, the anticipation of the unknown gripping her heart. "Is he here yet?" Jenny asked, her eyes scanning the diner. "Not yet." Sarah's voice wavered. The minutes dragged on, and anxiety grew heavier until Sarah felt suffocated. When the door swung open, a chill spread across the room. Her gaze shot to the entrance, and her breath hitched in her throat. There he was. Her father. He looked older, his hair speckled with gray, but the contours of his face were achingly familiar. He paused, scanning the diner before locking eyes with her. Sarah's heart slammed in her chest. All thoughts of keeping her calm detonated like fireworks in her mind. "Sarah," he called, his voice shaky and soft. "Don't!" she shouted, her voice piercing through the noise of the diner, drawing stares from nearby tables. Everyone froze for a moment, silence slicing the air. Her father's expression faltered, a mix of hurt and confusion washing over his features. "Just don't," she repeated, her heart pounding fiercely. The weight of unspoken emotions hung between them. She could feel it, the desperate need for answers, for truth, for closure. But would she really find it here? "I know this ain't easy," he said, his voice trembling slightly. "But I don't say anything." Sarah interrupted again, her throat suddenly dry. "I need to control this. You don't get to dictate how the rest of my story goes." She knew she had crossed a line, yet something in her snapped. The shaking fear morphed into a fierce shield. Just then, the diner door swung open again, revealing a woman standing in the threshold. A woman who looked just like her. Gasps filled the air. The truth of Sarah's reality about to unfold in a way she never anticipated. Could this be the other family she had been searching for? Her heart raced wildly as the woman took a step forward, eyes locked onto Sarah's. What if the discovery of that moment was beyond anything she could bear? The looming question echoed in her mind. Could she handle the truth, no matter what form it took? The woman stepped closer, her movements slow yet purposeful, as if she were navigating through a haze of unclear emotions. Sarah could hardly breathe, her fingers digging into the plastic booth seat, anchoring her to the moment. "What is happening?" Jenny whispered, her eyes darting between Sarah and the stranger. "Sarah!" The woman's voice was a soft echo of her own, laced with a tremor of familiarity that sent goosebumps racing up Sarah's arms. "Who are you?" Sarah barely managed to choke out, hanging onto the edge of disbelief. The sting of tears pressed at her eyes, blurring the line between fear and hope. "I'm your sister," the woman said, and the word hung in the air, heavy and loaded. The diner felt like it was spinning. Sarah reeled back, heart pounding against her ribcage as if trying to escape. This couldn't be happening. Sisters didn't just appear out of nowhere. Not when she had spent a lifetime wondering if she was alone in a world that never felt quite right. How? Was the only question that escaped her lips, desperation coating each syllable. Mom had to tell you at some point, the woman continued, her own eyes glistening with unshed tears. I didn't know how to reach you. I thought you'd hate me for showing up like this. But when I heard you were looking for answers, it's all too much, Sarah interrupted, shaking her head. She glanced at her father, whose face was pale, lips barely moving as he absorbed the revelation. Why didn't you call me? All this time all of it means nothing if I wasn't even alone in it. She felt a wave of panic wash over her. Memories flooded back, images of her childhood spent yearning for connection, for a family beyond what she had. And now here was the person she had unknowingly craved, but it felt like a cruel trick. Because I didn't know if I could handle seeing you, the woman admitted, stepping closer to the edge of their booth. My name is Claire and I've been searching for you for years. Years? Sarah echoed. Why now? Why not earlier? Because I was scared, Claire replied, her voice cracking. But then I saw you on social media, and my heart it crumbled. It grew so heavy knowing I couldn't just reach out and tell you how much I wanted us to be a family. But fate, I don't care about fate, Sarah shouted, her voice trembling with anger and confusion. I just want to know why I had to grow up like this, why I had to ask questions no one would answer. Was I really supposed to just wait? I didn't know how to find you. I swear I didn't. Please. Claire stepped into Sarah's personal space, her eyes pleading for understanding, for empathy. I don't blame you for anything. I just need you to understand I never wanted this for you either. A waiter, drawn by the commotion, chose that moment to approach, only to retreat quickly under the intensity radiating from the booth. Sarah felt the sobering weight of her father's presence beside her. Regret painted across his features. The ground felt unsteady beneath her. Everything was changing in a flash, the familiar diner suddenly swallowing her in an abyss of confusion and desperation for clarity. Is this even real? She asked, barely keeping her emotions at bay. But before Claire could respond, the sudden sound of a ringing phone shattered the stillness. A tight knot rose in Sarah's throat as her own phone buzzed against the table, a name flashing across the screen that sent fear crashing through her. The call was from someone she hadn't spoken to in years. She hesitated, the connection to Claire hanging like a thread ready to snap, uncertainty looming large over both new and long-held complexities. Would she answer, potentially leading to more revelations? Or would she step back, caught in emotions she wasn't ready to face? As she contemplated the decision, her heart raced anew. What other secrets lay ahead? Would this call bring solace or unleash another storm? The ringing felt like a jackhammer to Sarah's thoughts, echoing loudly in the charged atmosphere of the diner. She glanced at the screen again, heart racing. The name was one she hadn't uttered in years. A name that carried with it 1,000 memories and even more pain. Sarah, are you going to pick it up? Jenny asked, her voice barely above a whisper, tinged with concern. She leaned forward, urgency written all over her face. Maybe I shouldn't. Sarah shook her head, feeling muddled. The weight of Claire's presence was overwhelming. Everything was colliding together, the arrival of a sister she never knew, the phone call that could be a ghost from her past. Each moment seemed to loom larger than life. Whoever it is, you can handle it, Jenny encouraged gently, her hand resting on Sarah's arm. Just breathe. Taking a deep breath, Sarah's fingers hovered over the screen. The moment stretched on, seemingly infinite. Finally she pressed answer. The familiar voice on the other end made her stomach drop. Sarah, it's Lucas, he said, the tone heavy with something unnameable. We need to talk. Lucas. The name felt like a splinter, sharp and unwelcome. He was part of a time of her life she had tried to leave behind, a chapter she thought was closed. 1,000 responses danced in her mind, but they all fizzled out. Why now? What do you want? She asked, her voice steady but edged with pain. Sarah could feel Claire's eyes on her, the strangeness of the moment closing in around them. I know it's been a while, but I came across something that might change everything, he said, his words dragging out like treacle. Remember the stories we used to hear about our parents? There might be something important I found out. Like what? Sarah pressed, the urgency of Claire looming heavier. Just can you meet me? It's not something I can say over the phone. We need to discuss it in person. For a brief moment, Sarah wished she could lean into the comforting idea of family she had longed for, feeling Claire's presence beside her like a warm blanket. But then the reality of her chaotic past swept in again, murky and menacing. "Fine. Where?" she managed to say, trying to keep her voice even. As she confirmed the details, Claire watched her intently, eyes wide with a mix of concern and curiosity. It was clear she sensed the sudden shift in the room. Sarah's heart raced not just from anticipation, but from the fear that whatever Lucas was about to unravel could rip open old wounds. Once she ended the call, silence cocooned them like a blanket, taut and thick with unspoken words. "Who was that?" Claire asked softly, her voice a soothing balm to the chaos swirling inside Sarah. "It was someone from my past." Sarah felt unsettled, handing a piece of her story over without wanting to. "He's been digging into our family history, and I don't know what else might come to light." Claire's brow furrowed with concern. "This could be something important, Sarah. We can't ignore it. Just like you didn't ignore me?" The words slipped out before she could stop them, laden with emotion. Anger flared in her chest at the unfairness of it all. She stole a glance at her father, who watched quietly. "I didn't mean to," Claire began, but Sarah cut her off. "Does it matter now? We're both here and everything feels like it's spiraling." "I'm not sure I'm ready for more surprises," Sarah muttered, feeling the heat of tears prick her eyes once more. "You're not alone anymore," Claire said firmly. "I came here for you. You have me now." Sarah's heart hung on those words, barely believing them. They offered a glimpse of what could be, but felt frail against the uncertainty that brewed. Just then the light above flickered, plunging them momentarily into darkness before it resumed. The call from Lucas, her new sister. Everything was teetering. Nothing felt secure. "Are you ready for what comes next?" Jenny asked, her voice breaking through the haze, eyes fixed on Sarah. "Do I have a choice?" Sarah whispered, shaking her head as though to clear away the fog. What if Lucas brought another layer of truth that changed everything yet again? She felt the pull of fate tightened around her, just beginning to unravel. As she stood on the edge of this new precipice, nothing seemed clear, but one thought hung heavily in the air. What if uncovering the past would break her or make her whole? The diner felt like the world's center, poised on the brink of epiphany and chaos. Sarah sat, knees trembling beneath the table. Her heart raced, caught in a thunderstorm of emotions. Claire's presence filled the space, bringing the comfort of family yet weighed down by the complications of secrets long buried. "Are you okay?" Jenny leaned closer, her voice a whisper of sanctuary amidst the inner turmoil. Forcing a ragged breath, Sarah nodded. "I think I need a moment." Cupid struck the hour as the bell rang with the arrival of a new server. The atmosphere hung heavy with unsaid words. Sarah turned to Claire, seeing the worry etched across her sister's face, a reflection of her own desperate uncertainty. Could they navigate the wild waters of their shared history? Would they emerge unscathed? "Let us step outside," Sarah finally blurted. The room felt stifling, too close for revelations that could shift their lives dramatically. Claire nodded, heart in her eyes, and Jenny followed them out into the brisk air. The chill nipped at her skin, yet the world outside buzzed with vibrant life, the sound of laughter, clinking silverware, children running. It felt like normalcy and chaos danced hand in hand around them. "I know this is a lot," Claire began, her voice thin but steady, "but I want to help you understand everything. The family you never knew, there's too much to unpack, Claire. You just show up claiming to be my sister. How can I trust that you're real?" The question hung, crackling with unspoken frustration. "I understand why that would feel impossible. I lived in the shadows of our lost family for so long. And believe me, I thought about what it would be like to finally find you." Claire's voice broke, revealing the depth of her longing. "I've spent my whole life feeling misplaced," Sarah admitted, emotions spilling forth like a river finding its course. "And now I stand here not knowing if you're really part of the solution, or just an extension of more unanswered questions." Claire stepped closer, eyes glistening with urgency. "I promise your father he's not the enemy. He was protecting us both from a past tangled with pain. But the truth is, you need to make your own choices." A tremor of anger mixed with remembrance knitted Sarah's brows. Memories of cozy family dinners, moments when everything felt safe came flooding in, tainted now by a perception that felt skewed. Choosing means confronting things I never even knew existed. What Lucas might say could change everything. Are you ready for that? Claire's question pressed heavily against Sarah's heart. I don't know, she whispered, thoughts still racing like a runaway train. But I can't keep running from my past. At that moment, the weight of the unknown swelled around them. The call from Lucas loomed large, an impending storm that symbolized all that lay beneath the surface. Did knowing the truth matter if it would change everything she thought she knew? The sound of footsteps brought Sarah's attention back to the diner's entrance. There he was, Lucas, striding toward them with purpose. Sarah, he began, scanning their faces, the air between them thick with anticipation. Thank you for meeting me. Feeling the swells of tension in the air, Sarah held her breath. She couldn't backtrack now, not after stepping so boldly into her tangled reality. Let us just get to it, she urged. What do you have to say? Lucas pulled his hands from his pockets, expression grave. What I found might answer questions you didn't even think to ask. Like what? Like the truth about your parents and the people who loved you enough to try to shield you. They weren't just hiding facts. They were tied to a legacy and secrets that spread wider than you realize, he revealed. As if struck by lightning, Sarah felt another world pull at her heart, the pieces of her past fracturing like glass. Could the life she led truly connect to so much more? Tell me everything, she commanded, heart racing at the prospect of clarity. There's no turning back from this. Right? Lucas nodded, tension radiating from him. Your father didn't he just want to protect you? He wanted you to have a choice to build your own life away from it all. What are you saying? That lying is protection? Choose. All I've done is question everything. Sarah. Lucas took a step closer, his voice steadying. You are not defined by your past. You are the culmination of every decision you make from here on out. The family awaits. They want to know you. I'm saturated with questions, she exclaimed, each statement punctuated with desperation. Am I a product of a beautiful illusion? No, Claire stepped in, her voice like a soft wind against fervor. You're a collection of your experiences, and that can't be erased. If anything, it can create roots. Family binds us tighter than blood. It encompasses our choices, our love. As the words sank in, clarity began to replace confusion. In the midst of chaos, there lay an opportunity to break free and redefine who she was meant to be. Then I want to know. I want to meet them, the family I've been missing. Then let us combine forces. This can be our collective truth, Claire offered, glimmering hope laced in her eyes. Sarah nodded, releasing the tension that had held her captive for so long. Each breath felt lighter, freeing herself from the confines of the past. Can we all go together? Jenny proposed gently. Strength in numbers. You don't have to walk into this by yourself. Together, Sarah echoed, drawing strength from those around her. I've spent too long in the shadows. It's time to step into the light. They began walking side by side, each step forward an embrace with the unknown. With the past still lingering like a ghost, Sarah felt the weight begin to lift. Here came a new horizon, one where she could finally reclaim her narrative, turning the page on a life once shadowed in doubt. In that moment of realization, she knew the truth could forge her into something magnificent, shaping who she was meant to become: a daughter, a sister, a future mother. She turned around, spirits high, glancing at both Claire and Jenny. Let this be the day we rewrite our stories, she declared, stride strong. As they approached the uncertainty ahead, it pulsed with possibility. Because the truth may have once been buried, but now it awaited vividly alive, ready to be embraced. Now it's your turn to join this incredible journey. Subscribe immediately to our channel, so you don't miss the next exclusive stories. It's essential. Leave a like now to boost the algorithm and feed our community's growth. Comment below with your reactions and feelings about this monumental ending. And don't hesitate. Share instantly with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation unfold. You need to support this channel. This is your moment. Don't wait not even one more second.